He's out there, so he should just step in.
He may.
Okay.
Well, he have to because his stuff is in here, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's something you want to tell him. He could step in a little bit.
Let me see.
Tell him you're asking him no questions. We'll put him on the spot.
I'll let you know it done that.
It's on?
Yeah.
Okay, I can start speaking.
If you want to, yeah, it's on.
Hello, everyone. This is Senator DeGazon again. I just left the St. Clair show with Mr. Shamari Haynes, and we did a recap of the festival since I have oversight as the Chair for Economic Development and Agriculture. So now I decided to come on over here to the Department of Public Works, because besides tax checks, I think the second biggest question I get asked is roads. So I wanted to be able to come into the office here at the Department of Public Works and talk to their team about the road projects in St. Croix. So bear with us as we try to get the logistics of the, how we set our stage here going. The Assistant Commissioner Brow just went to check on the commissioner to let him know that we're in here, and if he needs to stop in, he's more than welcome to stop in. I think his stuff is in here, so he might peek in. So give us a few minutes. Again, this is about roads in the St. Croix district. Feel free to ask questions. Let's keep it positive. We're going to hear about their challenges, what work has been done, what work they're planning on. Maybe there's some federal issues, some funding issues we don't know about, staffing issues. Whatever it is, we're going to talk about it a little bit. I wanted to do it in an interactive way so that while we're speaking, you can hear what's going on, and you can also text your questions so that you can get your questions answered. You may have a question about a specific area, where the roads are bad, or find out about some planning. Hi, Charmaine. I think that's my brother just logged on. Hey, Junior. So that's a good thing about Facebook, right? Is that you get to be very interactive, and you get to see the people that are watching you. So again, in a few minutes, we're going to talk about our roads in the St. Croix district and any projects we have going on. Here is, come on in. I'm ready to go. So here is Assistant Commissioner Brow. So we're ready to start now.
That sounds good.
Yes, okay. So I'll do introductions. I'm Senator DeGazon, St. Croix District, Chair of Economic Development, Regulations and Agriculture. And
I'm John Paul David, Construction Program Manager for Federal Aid Projects on St. Croix.
Okay, speak louder, okay, so that people hear.
Yes.
Yes, morning to each and everyone. I'm Aaron Fleming, St. Croix District Engineer.
And of course, I'm Dennis Brown, Assistant Commissioner, Territorial Wide.
Okay, so elected to St. Croix, and my concern, I was saying a few minutes ago, besides where are my tax checks, next biggest question are always when it comes, what's the status of roads? So I would like you all to tell me what are probably your top 5 projects, and then we're gonna have questions that are coming through the feed that we'll address. Because people want to know about their neighborhoods, they want to know about areas, and you know what's going on, you know what's hindering it, and I want to give you a chance to explain that.
Good.
And so they know you're not just sitting on your hands.
Yes.
Good, so let me get started, and I don't know if Assistant Commissioner Brown doesn't mind, but
No.
Go ahead.
Well, basically, what I would like to say quickly is that, I've been working closely with Mr. Fleming and of course Mr. John Paul David. These are the engineers for St. Croix, and we have a lot of exciting things coming. We think that this year is going to be a big year for the Department of Public Works and for our road infrastructure. So we always get excited when we have an opportunity to present. And so we're going to start with Mr. Fleming. He is our local engineer. He does all the local roads. And of course you have John Paul David, who does the federal road. So I bring a full team.
Okay, that's another thing too. People don't realize there's a local and then there's federal sides with roads.
Okay.
All the people know is that their cars are being messed up.
Right.
The front end always being repaired. it looks like things are moving slow, but
Yes.
we know there's a lot of movement going on behind the scenes before they see it. Tell me what's going on so that my people can understand what's going on.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, well, again, morning to everyone. I want to start off first of all with our historic towns. Christiansted, Frederiksted town. I want to start off with those. And I want to let the public to know that we actually have a contract in place to take care of all of the local roads in the town of Christiansted. We have an executed contract that was signed by the former Governor Mapp. And so we are waiting until the infrastructure, when I say infrastructure, I'm speaking about the sewer lines, water lines. I'm waiting for those to be installed before we actually go and repair those roads. If one travels along the road, the East Street, they will see Wapa tearing up all those roads in the back. And so we are giving them the opportunity to really put the infrastructure, put those broken water lines in before we actually do our work there.
So let me stop you there. So for me, you just taught me something.
Yes.
I thought you just go and fix the road.
No.
So there has to be interagency collaboration.
Absolutely.
That's what
Okay,
we're doing.
so you're saying now that WAPA is currently working on repairing their pipes
Yes.
and their lines.
Yes.
So you can't go and fix the road unless
Right.
WAPA does their part.
Remember, if we do that, you know what the public would actually say? These guys from public, well, they don't know what the hell they're really doing.
Right. And
That's what they would actually say. So we want to show, of course, that we are competent. We know
Yes.
exactly what we are doing.
And
so
Senator,
we are
let me,
waiting.
let me just add to it. In the past, we would rush to pave roads. Why? Because we wanted to appease the public. And we always want to keep our infrastructure, road infrastructure looking well. But we realize that we're wasting time. We're wasting government money. We're not doing things properly. So what we understand now is before we pave a road, we're gonna check with the utility companies and we're gonna check with the water company, meaning Waste Management. Do you guys have anything to do in this area? Do you need to repair or replace pipes? What's your future plan? So that when we build a road, we know that the road is not going to be impacted by any excavation anytime soon. So we working together, and it helps us because it makes the road last longer. These guys can tell you, once you impact a road, it's like a cancer. Because
Yes.
once water is the biggest enemy of roads, period.
Which is why
Yes.
I pushed my stormwater plan.
Thank you, Senator.
Awesome. Sorry about that, but I just want the public to understand they're being patient, they appreciate it. But we're not gonna pave roads unless we know for sure these roads are not gonna be impacted by excavation. Either
From
by-
any of the other agencies.
Absolutely, we cannot.
Okay, so let's talk about Christiansted, right?
Right, yes.
You said that there's a specific area that has,
Well, roads.
yeah,
this-
call out the area, like
Very
people,
good.
so people could know. Let's get
Very
specific.
good. Let's be specific. So,
Okay.
in terms of road repairs, as
Love
to
it.
what we are doing, we have Queen. I'm just naming them. Just Queen, Strand, Hill, East, West, Smith, Prince, and Market Street. Those are the roads that we have slated again. These are basically local roads. Okay. And these are just the local section because what happened is that Federal Highway, they have beyond $3 million to do all of the federal routes. When I say federal routes, I'm speaking about King Street. I'm speaking about,
So you have local attached to the federal where this area to this area is local, then jump over, this is federal.
well, they join, it's really a network of roads. So for example, King Street, you have Prince Street actually connected to that.
Connecting.
King Cross, all of these things connected.
And some are federal and some are local.
Yes, yes. And so we are only doing the local portion, and my senior engineer here, John Paul, of course, they're doing the federal section. So what we have slated for this particular contract are the local roads, which basically WAPA and Waste Management will be impacted. And again, once they're done, we're going to go in and we're going to clean those roads up and give everybody.
And what about
nice-
the proper drainage?
Yes.
So that the water doesn't run into the road and sit and mess up what you've done.
Yes. Lots of that. We'll be doing quite a lot of that, especially in the town of Frederickstead, where you can access the drainage. So we're going to be cutting a lot of those drains and putting what we call trench drains inside there. Because what you have there right now is basically can't be covering the entire sidewalk, and all of those sidewalk you have drains on it, so you really can't access it much. And so we find it wisdom to basically go and cut those sections and actually put in what we call trench drains. So you could go in and just take the grills out. Whatever it is, debris, we just remove those.
The debris.
Yes.
So when do you plan on beginning the construction in town, in Christiansted?
Yes. Well, again, that depends on those other agencies like WAPA and
So
Waste
what is
Management.
WAPA doing now there?
Yeah, they're basically doing their part, and I think they're probably maybe about 50 to 60% complete. Like I mentioned to you earlier, if you travel along that route of the East Street and all these streets, on Hill Street, you'll see the cleaning up all of those roads in the back. So they're vigorously working back there. The contractor, I think was one of our students here, Mr. Samuel. He's doing some work there, and again, I'm expecting them to be finished probably in the next 3-4 months.
Okay, so by summer or beginning of summer, probably after Easter, would be a fair time to say we should start seeing you jump on the project now in town.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, because again, remember we have an executed contract.
Yeah.
So you have to
So
meet your timelines.
we don't even have to do any paperwork anymore because we have the already in
It's
place.
just the paperwork
The
is
government
done.
already said executed.
Yeah.
So it's just a way for WAPA to finish
And then, of course, for the sewer line. The sewer line.
the source, which is waste management.
Yes.
And we've been informed that they now have the funding in place to start their portion of it.
So when WAPA wants to do a road, they have to work with waste management. And when Public Works wants to do a road,
Right.
they have to work with waste management and WAPA. Have them secure their funding, get their bids, get everything in place, get all those things done. Do their project and then you come in. So it's not that the road itself takes long to repair, it's just that we're improving the old
Logistics, yes.
And the
infrastructure.
communication,
Yes.
yes. And it makes a difference because then you extend the life of the road.
Yes.
So these roads now, instead of just falling apart within a period of 5 years, 10 years, they can last beyond 20 to 30 years.
So
in
what
some
about all this
instances.
patching? So you patch, why you patch? You patch in the meantime to
Short-term relief.
It's temporary, and you know what? And that's one of the things that we need to talk about as well. I don't want to take up the time now because we could hit that later after these guys explain, what they're doing and some of the major projects that's coming forward. But patching is one of the most critical operations right now in public work because these are the situations where people are complaining about the front end. Oh God, the road's so horrible. What are you doing? I ain't doing nothing. Well, we're doing things. And we're going to be very aggressive in the next 2 weeks with patching.
So I noticed though that when you patch, it has this wavy thing.
Yes.
And you drive over the patch and you might as well have lead a pothole because it just as bumpy.
Well,
Explain what's
yes.
going
It's
on there.
temporary.
In some of them areas, what we need to do is little overlays, right? If you do an overlay, you do it properly, it takes that all away. Sometimes the guys just want to go over there and do what they can, and it's temporary. Now we could go through the science of a pothole because once the base is impacted by water, the base get muddy and it starts to move. And what water does is it breaks down the
Again, it breaks the bonding.
the banding.
Which we understand, which is why
Yes.
I filmed it for the people to see how the water runs and why I needed DPNR to come up with a stormwater management plan.
Right.
But I want the people to understand all what it takes into coming up with fixing the road. So you explain what takes a while for y'all to start the project. You
Yes.
gotta wait on waste management and
Yes.
WAPA.
Yes.
And we know what that takes.
Yes.
We understand that. You have your contracts in place and ready to go.
Yes.
By the beginning of summer, we're going to see some major work going on in the towns.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
And at some point in time, we want to explain the procurement process of the contract, because that in
Let's
itself,
talk about it.
especially with the feds, but we don't want to jump around.
Okay.
We kind of want to deal with the projects.
Okay, so you said that you have major projects going on in Christiansted. Go ahead with your projects.
Yes, so again, I don't know if we have exhausted all of the points for Christians.
Go ahead, talk about Christiansted.
But like I mentioned to you, once those infrastructure are in place, then we're going to pave the roads there. And I mentioned all of the roads that we will be paving.
Okay,
I'll just jump into the town of Frederiksted now.
okay.
Because with Frederiksted, we have a lot of money. A lot of money. We got 2 grants from the Interior Department. I don't want to be specific because
No, that's okay. We have enough
then
time.
the contractors will know exactly how much money we have.
And they know how to bid.
how to bid. So I don't
Correct,
want
and
to
that's
spend-
illegal, right?
But we have basically 2 grants from the Interior Department, which is quite a lot. And so I just want to run through all of the roads that we'll be hitting in that area.
Okay, wait. So now he's going to be listing out exactly what roads in Frederiksted are going to be fixed, because we have 2 grants from Department of Interior.
Yes, again, so we in the town of Frederiksted, we have Queen Croix Street, Hill Street, Hospital Street, New Street, King, Customs, Lagoon, and Market Street. That's phase 1. Phase 1 is where we have 1 point something
Okay.
million dollars. So we're going to take care of those. Phase 2, which is very close to, again, is $1 million, very close to that. We're going to be hitting Cross Street, East Street, Veterans Should Drive. That's the road that goes all the way from the town of Frederiksted all the way to the pool. We're going to be hitting that area there. And then we also have the road that's coming from the back of Black Range coming all the way back into Frederiksted.
Right.
So we're going to be taking care of that particular area as well. Not only that, but I mentioned earlier that we will be cutting a lot of those sidewalks where you have the drains actually on those sidewalks, and we'll be putting in trench drains just to have accessibility to all of the drainage system that's underneath there. At this point in time, we do not have that. And so we'll be cutting a lot of those sidewalks to actually install a trench drain.
So right now the water doesn't have a good passageway. So when you do that, it'll direct the water better.
Yeah, but also we don't have access.
Right. to
Access to
To
clean.
clean.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Something of a little manhole, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't even get underneath there.
And the
No.
infrastructure happened a long time ago, and it has really outlived its
So
useful life.
the sidewalk covered the area you needed to access to
Very
clean
good.
the
The
area.
drainage flows under those sidewalks,
Okay.
and so we have to
The
update the
undersize,
infrastructure.
when you consider the level of development today, those drains
Yeah.
they're obsolete because they're undersized.
Yeah,
And
and
the
they
need
have
is
to get
to,
to.
is to increase the capacity by having, as he said, larger size drains, providing access so that you can maintain them easier.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So go ahead with your other project.
Yes, okay, because I know John Paul has a lot of
No, that's
people
okay.
which so I'm going to be done shortly.
Go ahead.
I want to just sit area, put all of those of you guys who are living in the area of Tipperary. Again, we have an executed contract. I could speak about that. $400,000. And for those who living in that area, the residential area, we will be coming in shortly. I'm a little disappointed with the contractor, Bayako. Apparently they have too much work on their hand. And again, this contract been executed way up since last year. And
So when
it
do
just not
when do
moving
they?
quick as-
I know because resources or the people to do the work is limited.
Yes.
When do we expect to see work start in Tipperary?
I would like to see it start next week because we have a contract in place already. I have spoken to the contractor. He said give him a little more time because this same contractor, he has several other projects. Beside that, he has, of course, the area and Melvin Evans Highway as well, which Mr. John Paul going to allude to just shortly.
Okay.
But again, they probably have quite a lot on their hand at this point in time. So I would like to see it start as quickly as possible. He asked for some more time.
Okay.
And so we have extended the contract just a bit longer.
Okay.
Okay? Moving on. For those of you again, in Eliza's Retreat.
Where is that?
That's right opposite, that's Plaza, well, not Plaza per se, but by the ballpark there.
Okay.
It's basically per se east of the ballpark.
Yes.
Going up the hill there, anything like that. So the contract is just about $250,000 and just about a quarter mile. And so we will be taking care of that area as well.
And when you plan to start there?
For that area, the same contract again has that same contract, and it's really slowing us up.
So the contractor having limited people who have the road paving capabilities.
Yeah, we need more
And
contractors.
then if you try to bring people in, that's a whole nother issue because they say you're taking food from the local businessman mouth.
We're coming to you.
That's what I'm saying. If we push for that, they're going to say we're not looking out for the small businesses. But the small businesses also have a lot on their plate because this one contractor has several contracts and he has to do them in order.
Yes.
And all this time, the people are yelling, fix the roads.
And Senator, it's so important that you do this and you articulate it in that manner because half the time people are not privy to these information, right? And so while some of the roads seemingly are not moving forward quickly enough, it's not necessarily us.
It's not public works
Right.
sitting on their hands.
We got contractors who have several approved contracts that they cannot move forward with because it's just overwhelming. There's too much work
Yes.
for those contractors.
Yes.
So it's good when you can articulate that to the audience so that they understand this is collaborative. It's not just public work. We did our part and now it's time for the contractors to pave the road.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to stop now because I know on the federal side there's a lot of projects.
No, but are you finished? You finished with yours?
Well, the most important one,
Yeah.
the 5 of them, which you really want to just to really.
Because we got a
Sure.
lot, and especially
Yes.
with the feds, we have some amazing road projects that are coming up, and so we excited, and we now let John Paul David introduce some of those
Okay.
projects.
So we just heard about the local roads, the local projects. And what I am understanding is that Department of Public Works has successfully implemented executed their contracts. Waste management have to go in and do their part with the sewage and those lines. WAPA has to do their part with the water lines.
Yes.
And then Public Work comes in with their contractor where they fix the roads and get access under the sidewalks to create the drainage so the water can flow and they can do the debris cleanup.
Yes.
So he cited that for these 5 projects, there's a lot of roads under each project, the monies are available, and the local contractor their hands are full.
Yes.
So that's who they're using for projects. And the other side of that is if we bring other people in, God forbid we bring in an agency from Puerto Rico. You know how the people here are going to go off? The local people are going to say, you can't go to Puerto Rico and bring in people over there, but you're bringing them in over here.
Yes.
So we're kind of in a position where they're telling me they're allowing the small business people here to keep the work local, but it takes longer. So I will let Mr. John Paul talk about the federal roads, the federal projects.
Good morning to all. The federal aid.
Okay, they're saying that they can hear me, but they're not really hearing y'all, but so you need to talk a little louder, okay?
Yes, good morning to all listeners. The federal aid roads on St. Croix roads are the numbered routes. The routes with the numbers are federal aid routes.
So like, if you see, I'm just giving an example, 102
Yes.
or 10.
It's
Okay.
Route 66, Route
So the
17.
local roads are the roads with names,
Right.
and the roads with numbers are the federal roads. Okay.
I will start with the Melvin Evans Highway, which is Route 66. Currently, we have 2 projects going on the Melvin Evans Highway, from Home Depot intersection to Sunny Isles, and from West Airport to Williams Delight. The 2 contractors are tasked to mill and pave the surface of the roadway, improvements of safety, that is, removal of the guardrails, restriping of the roads, replacement of signs. The signals were done prior to these contracts, so signals will not be addressed in the current 2 contracts that are ongoing. So that takes care of the Melbourne Evans Highway.
But let me ask you this. Why is it that certain parts of the highway would get worked on and we don't just work on the whole highway?
That's a good question.
Because I have people that call me, no matter, I keep telling people this is not my job. This here is me basically saying, okay, if I hear one more question about roads, I'm gonna pass out. So that's why I have to do this, so that we can let the people know what's going on, to know that it's nothing to do with the senators. We already gave the money we're supposed to give for this.
Right.
The senators already gave the money they're supposed to give to this. But why is it that some areas still stay patch up on the highway and then you jump over, then it's smooth, then it bumpy again, then it's smooth? Why?
Senator, I'm happy you asked that question.
Yes,
Because your audience need to know. Okay, the people of the Virgin Islands need to understand exactly why that is, and our expert John Paul David is going to take care of
Okay,
it.
talk louder.
it's a great question, and I will tell you why that was done that way. The Melbourne Evans Highway, it's about 9 miles from Sunny Isles to Hannah's Rest. And to find a design consultant to undertake the scope of the designs from 9 miles was something that simply put it, the engineering companies that we have, they simply could not undertake such a task, 9 miles of roadway. Hence the reason why we decided to break it up pretty much from intersection to intersection. So you have from the first phase from Hannah's Rest to Good Hope, then from Good Hope to Williams Delight, which I am currently reviewing now so that we would finalize the process to go to construction. And from Williams Delight to West Airport, which is currently ongoing, and the phase from West Airport to public safety that has been done. A number of years ago, we did from public safety to East Airport, the phase from East Airport to Diageo, that was done last year, and the section from, let's say, Diageo to Home Depot, that would be addressed with the improvements to Clifton Hill Road. We have some issues with that, which I'm going to discuss a little later. And now we have Home Depot to Sunny Isles, which takes us to the eastern limit.
So you're saying,
let me clarify
wait.
something.
So you're saying the reason why we break it up is because we do not have a local engineering company
Right.
that can design and take on the whole 9 miles.
Perfect. That's what I was going to do.
So you break it up in pieces so that they can manage the design and all of that.
And other designers can participate. So this 9 miles is not designed by any one person. We had about 5 designers?
Yes.
And so we put them in a gate and tell them go.
Yeah.
And the well was
But this is my thing. In the States, you have highway. Why they could just fix a stretch of road? Like, what's the difference? It's just a stretch of road.
No, it has to be designed.
I'll tell
It's
you
a
why.
lot that goes to
Because the soil conditions change, and if you observe,
Okay, wait. So
You got
our
technical.
being island is totally different than on the mainland, is what you're saying. Designing for it.
if you were to observe, chemistry kind of, the worst part of the Melbourne Evans Highway is really to the west, which is Williams Delight, West Airport, Williams Delight, maybe as far as the worst parts of the Melbourne Evans Highway is really to the west. The easier part in terms of construction and preparing a bid package is really on the eastern.
Why is it harder on the west?
Because the soil conditions change. You have, whether you want to simply put it, bad soils towards the west. So you tend to have the failures on the roadway They are more severe on the western side. And so we have the construction as it's currently taking place. It's not because of we prefer the eastern or the western part. It's just in the order that they were completed. And some of these designs were done in-house, but by ourselves. So you know, we've also contributed towards it. That is DPW in-house staff as well as consultants. And the order in which you see in construction taking place is the order in which the separate phases were completed.
But by the time you finish one part and get to the next part, the other part bad again, so it's like a vicious cycle.
I would beg to differ because in all these designs, the designs are going to address pavements, it's going to address safety, it's going to address drainage.
Which is the problem. The waters, no, there's
critical.
only some parts of the highway you see with drainage and other parts you don't see with drainage.
I would point out some things, some improvements that maybe people didn't observe. For example, in the area where Xenon construction is located along the Melbourne Highway, you have a problem there with water ponding against the median barrier. That is no longer a problem because we replaced some of the median barriers, we replaced larger slugs, we improved the capacity of the drainage pipes. So the flooding that you used to have to the west of Xenon going up the hill, that's no longer there. The water ponding against the median barrier, which was hazardous to traffic, that is no longer there.
Right.
So we have been making improvements to drainage on the Melbourne Highway.
And when it's all completed, it will be a finished product.
Yes.
Because it's built to federal standards and guidelines.
When do you plan to finish? When can we expect that all of these federal roads, or roads with numbers, to be fixed?
I can't say for all, because I'll tell you, Springgut Road, believe it or not.
Where's Springgut?
That's the road that when you pass the ballpark and you go towards the Seventh-day Adventist School,
That comes all the way.
that's also a federal aid route. Scenic Road, all the way back to...
That's federal?
That's also federal.
So what's the status with that road?
Well, one of our projects that is currently ongoing is in the final stages. It's Scenic Road Phase 2. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's coming towards the intersection of Monbijou Road. That's
Yes.
the second phase. That's almost done. The contractor is doing punch list items. That is, before final acceptance. So that addresses Scenic Road Phase 2. But the entire length of Scenic Road, keep in mind, is 40 miles. And parts of it, it's undrivable. So to say a date...
And that's part of the project, one of the projects to get done.
Yes, but it's being done in phases.
Right, phases.
It's being done in phases, and we're up to the second phase. But the second phase takes us to past 2 miles, and there's 14 miles to go back to Hams Bluff, where it terminates in the vicinity of the crusher.
So it seems as though when it comes to the federal roads, again, it is the private sector, waiting on the private sector to do their part as far as the design, and even working with y'all. And we have to take other issues into consideration, which is the soil conditions, which makes it a little more detailed to get these roads done.
Also, there's a priority, and the priority is based on the number of vehicles that use the road. For example,
You want to say hi? Shaking your head?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning. Here we have the Commissioner of Public Works.
All right,
He
morning,
just stick his
everyone.
head in.
Yes,
Since
you
I
guys-
hijacked his staff,
That's fine.
find out about St. Croix. So thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
All right.
Commissioner,
Hey.
take care of that.
all right,
Okay, so my thing is, I want that the St. Croix district to understand that it's not that Public Works is not doing anything. It's not like the senators haven't appropriated funds. It's not that the contracts are not executed. is the more technical part on the private side and some of the collaboration from the other agencies to finish their projects to get the work done.
That's correct.
And the federal side, the federal roads, how many projects in all do you have with federal projects?
I can't tell you a number. I can list the projects. That I have.
Okay, what projects do you have? Can you list them?
Okay, we have 2 phases on Melbourne Evans Highway currently ongoing. The second phase of Scenic Road. We have Cyan Valley Road being
Sand Valley,
which is Sand Farm.
Sand Farm in the back.
Yes. We have
Mahogany Road. That's
Mahogany
gonna be a
Road.
nice project.
It's pending. It's under design. Currently, we have a consultant hired, and we have a 90% set of plans, which I'm going to review and make comments to the consultant. So I expect by the first quarter of 2020, we should have some movement with respect to construction on Mahogany Road.
There is also mitigation from FEMA that's already awarded, that's in the process of being
Right,
exercised.
and that's a number of various routes, and you know, so I cannot say 10, 12 projects, but there are a number of projects. After the hurricanes of 2017, we have some additional emergency relief funds on the federal side to replace 2 bridges on St. Croix.
Which bridges?
Bridge on Midland Road and the bridge on 64 coming from
Midland
north.
one, the one near my farm,
The-
which I cry about because
The
the
yellow,
farmers.
yes.
Let me talk about the farmers went through hell when that road was being fixed first because it wasn't being kept wet and we lost our plants, our crops, and livestock, the babies were dying because of the dust. So it hurts my heart that we have to go redo that project. That Midland Road, it's splitting already. What was the problem?
I'll tell you what's the problem. The road that's constructed is constructed with aggregates.
Talk louder.
The road that's constructed is constructed with a layer of aggregates and a layer of soil cement. Soil cement is a mixture of aggregates with cement. And what has happened is it appears that the cement, this soil cement has been too rich and it's brittle, and hence the reason for the cracking. We plan to do some on the local side to do some improvements to that roadway while we close that project. So it's going to the cracking of the roadway is going to be addressed, but that's going to be done later this year.
This year.
Yes.
And that is on DPW.
Yes.
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 Because that was my concern. It was like a blame game. So it looks like y'all just want to end that problem and y'all just want to take it out.
We're going to take care of it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
We got Hams Bluff Road.
Hams Bluff Road, we had hired a consultant and then we had to renegotiate, and we are in the process of renegotiating with that consultant for the Hams Bluff Road currently.
So one of the comments is that it kind of, some people believe that there's some political game in this where contracts are given to specific people that probably can't do the work or are moving slow. What would y'all say that would move slow? What would y'all say about
Now,
that?
all of these projects go through the bidding process.
Yeah.
We advertise, certainly something 30 days. All countries come, we have a pre-bid meeting, we explain our project, meet some bounds of the project, and then they submit their numbers, and then we have an evaluation committee in place to evaluate each particular bid. So I don't see any dirty things there. I'll be upfront.
Well, I gotta bring it up because this is what some people probably think, that there's maybe if it was a different setup, people getting the contracts would move faster.
Well, there are only two.
We only two contractors on the island.
Yes,
So,
yes,
you know.
So there's only 2 contractors
Presently,
on
yes.
island.
Presently.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
You have Marco now who is going to join
in.
and
That's
we'll
good.
have
That's
three.
good. So now you have 3 with Marco, because I think Marco is doing something with asphalt or something.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And the issue is, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, when a contractor has 7 projects and only a couple,
Yeah, go ahead.
they cannot undertake all of that all at once. Now, in a perfect situation, 7 contracts, 7 jobs going at once, 7 jobs finished at the same time would be perfect for the community, perfect for public work, and perfect for our infrastructure. But unfortunately, one contractor with 7 or 8 projects, he can only do 1 or maybe 2 at a time.
Well, I think that's something that, what about subcontracting? Do you all allow that?
Well,
If that same company, let's say, I'm just gonna use Marco because I'm comfortable using Marco. Yeah, I'll just say Marco. Let's say Marco gets in and he says, okay, this is a big project. I'm gonna bring in some people from Florida to help me with the project. But it's my project, it's a local contract.
Yeah.
Can they do that?
Within the federal rules, the contractor is required to do at least 50% of the
Fine,
work.
right, which is fine. So if Marco does, I'm just using Marco as an example, or Viaco, 50% of the work, they can get it. So maybe we need to encourage these small businesses to do that. But the thing is, they need their money. They want to get the money.
Yes.
You know, you have to look at the business side.
Yes.
You know, but in the interim, the people suffering.
Right.
Because the roads aren't moving fast enough, your car's getting messed up, Public Works has done their part, you know. So it's something I think we as senators need to talk about. It's nothing that we can change, but it's something that we can encourage or push the local contractors to get assistance from elsewhere to move these projects along.
Let me ask a question, because another federal project we have is the Carlton Road.
They just I missed. It's the Carlton Road and the Tomb. Okay, so
Yes.
they want to know about, and I want to know because my family live on that road, and I cry when I have to go
Well,
visit that.
it's a very exciting project.
Okay, talk to me
And
about
I'm sure
Carlton.
John
This is
Paul-
about Carlton Road.
John Paul would be the
Is that a local or
It's a
federal?
federal
It's a
road.
Oh, so that's a federal road.
Yes, it's
Talk louder and talking to the.
Carlton Road, it's VI 667. It was recently, we had bid solicitation and we had a bid evaluation, and I'm awaiting the evaluation report. Once I get the evaluation report, I'm going to make recommendations to federal highways to conclude the award, and it's just the paperwork process to get the
How long is that
concurrence.
going to take?
I'd say a month to 6 weeks.
So we should see in about 2 to 3 months, we should see some starting on that project.
Yes.
You hear that, people? So I called the governor myself the other day. I said, remember you promised a little boy? There was a little boy that said to him, please fix the Carlton Road. My mom's car is getting messed up because she goes to work every day I'm home. He said, it's going to be a priority. I called him and said, don't forget your promise to that boy with that Carlton Road. You
And,
know,
and there's good news, because the Carlton Road is not just going to be a regular paved road. We're talking about complete infrastructural development,
Drainage.
Drainage improvements,
Yes.
pavement reconstruction, that is from everything from
For that.
base, sub-base, everything.
and that one, you got federal monies to do
and
that.
that's 100% federal aid.
Okay.
Brand new road.
This is a road, I don't know if it's public, private, whatever. The neighborhood Estate Lorraine.
Private.
Yeah, it's right.
As a matter of fact,
It's private.
I already did the evaluation for those roads.
And
for
similarly,
commission.
Bugsby Hole,
Yes.
and
So Bugsby Hole,
Yes.
Estate Lorraine, those are private.
Yes.
and we've already did scope.
Yes, I have the scope. It's
For the entire road.
$4 or $5 million.
Yeah, and
our area.
Bugsby Hole is also about $3 million.
Beyond that, over $4 million.
So, but there's good news. And the good news is, It's gonna come to the legislature for consideration.
Well, I know because I got the scopes. So my thing is, where do you get this 4 or 5 million? See, these are the things that senators have to deal with now. This is where my work comes in. $4 or $5 million for a road, or $4 or $5 million into education. $4 or $5 million for a road, or $4 or $5 million into the health system. This is where my colleagues and I sit down now and we lobby. And we look at what is going on, and we try to tell these agencies, use your federal monies. Apply for federal money. So the more federal monies the hospital gets, agriculture gets, the education gets, the more we could have the local money to fix those roads. So it's a cycle where we all, it's just a lot.
You know, we're, especially in Bugsby Hole, my whole team has been in Bugsby Hole for the last 3 weeks, trying to accommodate, trying to do temporary fix because it's
A
terrible.
terrible road.
Yes.
And it's, you know, even though it's private, it's just unfair for those people to suffer those consequences of the road.
One more
being
place, Gallows Bay.
Oh, that's.
Oh, we got a great.
Please tell me about
Yes,
Gallows
we got a
Bay. I
great.
took my family to eat to Ocean Cafe. I feel so bad for Mike back there. So sometimes people just stop at No Bones because they don't want to go the rest of that roadway to him, and he has his business out there suffering. Tell me about the
But
road.
before we talk about that road, because it's an
Gallows Bay.
exciting project. Me and my crew, we went out there yesterday, and if you see Gallows Bay Road now, everybody's happy because we did a temporary fix, and this is the staff of Public Works. They did an amazing job.
I saw
Okay.
that it's shaved off.
It is beautiful, and that's so until because we're just trying to extend. It's gonna have its challenges again, but we're gonna go back in and provide a smooth road for the folks again.
Okay, so tell me about this Gallows Bay area, please.
At the end of the fiscal year 2019, getting the very last day, we had Federal Highways approve the funds for the reconstruction of Gallows Bay Road. But
Thank you.
it's subject to two things. There's one piece of property at the corner house that we have to acquire. It's a tiny piece of property.
So eminent domain.
Ice cream decadent.
Oh, the
The
ice cream
former ice cream
decadence.
decadent.
Y'all.
It's the one. What street is that?
Is it a tire shop?
No, the street that takes you straight over to the post office. That property on the right hand side. Once we acquire that, we will move to construction.
Yes, but acquisition ain't an easy thing.
No. It's we're well on the way with it, and we have. There was some restrictions with CCM. We have that waiver from Commissioner of DPNR, and
Very good.
I mean, it's only.
So when will we see the road being worked on in Gallows Bay?
I would say second half, the mid. It's by summer of this year. We should see some action on that roadway.
Okay, so we've been here a long time, so I just wanted to take some of the heat off of you, also off of even the senators, so the people can understand what's going on with the roads.
Can I
Go ahead.
I just want to address. I was speaking about the two bridges earlier,
Yeah.
and in those ER funds, we also going to address
ER is emergency.
emergency relief.
Mm.
The Lagoon Bridge and some washouts on the east end. So we have some things coming up this year, and by summer I think you'll see.
So this year we're going to see a lot of road work going on.
2020 is going to be an amazing year for the Department of Public Works, for the administration, and led by our great commissioner.
And a break for the senators.
And a break for the senators, but more importantly, the people of these beautiful virgin
Yes, and this is why I wanted to do this. I need y'all to stay passionate
Right.
because we cannot afford, we already don't get our taxes on time. Our pays are not at the level where it should be overall when you compare to the states. It's a lot that we do without. It's a price we pay to live in paradise. But simple things like the roads, I need y'all to just stay dedicated, stay focused. Because every time you hit a pothole, that could be a pothole that send you to the mechanic. And you don't know what they're gonna tell you. I personally have fixed my front end twice. And when I go visit my family in Carlton, I stop at the top of the road like, oh my goodness, I gotta do this thing. When I wanna go Gallows Bay to get something to eat, I shake my head. When I'm on the highway, you smooth, then you bumpy. Then smooth, and then you bumpy. Forget scenic road. You want to go take your family on a run, you can't even do that. So I am looking forward to 2020 being a year of the roads. I'm gonna speak that, and I'm gonna question, and I'm gonna come back here in a few months, and then we see where we are, which roads have started, which roads have completed, and that's part of the accountability and oversight that we have as senators.
Absolutely.
We can't run around and do the work, but we could honk the horn and ask, what's going on? What are you spending? What do you have left? What's going back? What are you all doing?
Right.
So that the people will know what's happening, okay? So my phone here says low power mode, so I'm gonna fix it. So thank you so much for watching. And again, we had Assistant Commissioner Brow, Department of Public Works. We have Mr. Fleming. I know him personally. We literally worked together on some stuff. Before I was a senator, I have my own business as a project manager, so we worked together on some stuff. This is my first time meeting Mr. John Paul. I learned some things today. I learned that the federal roads are the roads with the numbers, and the local roads are named. I understand a little bit why you're doing the Melvin Evans Highway in pieces. I understand the constraints of the small businesses who are overwhelmed. They're getting the contracts.
Yes.
And that it's a catch-22. You want them to get the work, but then you know they need the help. They need people to come in. So maybe we now need to encourage them to bring in people to help them, but just maintain 50% of the work to remain in compliance with the contracts.
Okay.
And we as the community, I don't know how we could ask them to be more patient.
Yeah.
They just need to see things being done. So I hope they're as excited as me to see 2020 come and what's going to come out of it, but I'll be back to be able to report more.
And we must inform them as well about the FEMA aspect of this whole
Oh, we know
process.
FEMA has been not sending the money as quickly as they should. Paperwork after paperwork. Every time we submit something else, they want something else. They do another inspection. We know.
Right.
We empathize with you guys on that.
And we just want them to understand that there is about $200 million
Waiting for you guys.
specifically for roads that were in the negotiation process, that once that closes, it's going to be an unbelievable Virgin Islands.
Once we can get the work done quickly with our contractors.
Absolutely.
Because having the
Absolutely.
money is one thing. Because we have the money, we've all admitted.
Right.
You have the federal money, you have the local money, and we saw to that. You have the oversight, and you are going through the negotiations to get more money.
Exactly.
It's not a money issue. It's being able to execute.
Correct. Correct.
So we
At the end of
gotta.
the day, yes.
It's that. So the collaboration between the agencies, it needs to continue happening, and we have to probably encourage the small businesses to bring in some work just so where they some people, maybe just so they can manage it a little better, not just at least soak up all their money, because we understand business.
Yes. Yes.
But if help is needed, get the help so that we can have a more beautiful island.
Yes.
Okay? So thank you guys. I hope you all didn't mind me coming in and taking over
Hey,
your office
as a
today.
matter of fact, we're looking forward.
Thank you.
Because we want to communicate with the public. You know, we want to inform them as to where we are, what's going on, what's coming, you know, why certain things are happening the way they're happening, and, you know, what we have in store for them.
Yes.
And so at the end of the day, the governor, the commissioner, and all involved are doing everything necessary to move these projects forward.
Very good.
So we want to thank the governor for his vision, his leadership, his guidance, and of course the commissioner for making the things happen that are happening, and for providing the resources that we need to get our jobs done. So thank you, Governor, thank you, Commissioner, and of course thank you,
I'm
Senator
waiting.
DeGazon.
I was waiting for Senator.
Well, I gotta save you for last.
Oh, okay.
My sister, I got to save you for last, because when I close, I like to close at the best note. And I'm closing with you. How is that?
Thank you so
And
much.
all the other senators that are
Yes,
supporting all
let me
the
tell
initiative
you,
that
the
we're doing.
senators are working hard, but the people don't understand the road.
It's tough.
So
Stuff.
when they don't see the roads, they literally type it on Facebook. Those good for nothing senators.
Well, and it's unfortunate.
Or
and, you know,
we ain't electing them again. We put the money, we give the money, we give oversight. We're there, but we're not the pavers, we're not the builders, we're not the doctors, we're not the teachers. But we try our best to give of the money. And then another thing people don't realize is we don't just start the year with a pot of money, you know. As revenue comes in and people pay their taxes as it comes in, then we give out. It's not like, oh, you have $850 million this year, first quarter I gain my 40 million. No, you might get 2.3. You got to figure out how best to do that. As a commissioner, you are obligated to do that. And then we keep you accountable. Then we release another 5 million because we collect some more taxes or we got some more revenues. We release some to you. But you know what happens? A lot of time the money sits. Work doesn't get done. Money going back, money coming back. And who still get blamed? The senators.
well, to add to that, right now, me and Mr. Fleming, we're waiting for the money to get to our district road fund because we want to pick up from where we started on Queen Mary Highway from Paradise Stoplight. We want to pave the whole main road from Paradise Stoplight all the way to Sun Yards.
Yes.
And we believe that we can make this happen in a couple of months.
Oh, certainly.
You know,
because we
Yes,
have
but you
tax
still
advantage.
have to deal with your contractor issue.
Yes.
We still have to do that, but it's an easier process because we have a task order. It doesn't have to go through the tedious task of trying to put all these things
Okay.
together and negotiate nothing. We just task them with the work and they go ahead and they get it done. So
Okay.
that is something that can happen pretty quickly, and that will take care of all the potholes on Queen Mary Highway.
What about that project in Strawberry for that lady that kept calling me,
It's done.
Miss Eves?
It's done.
That's done.
It's done.
Okay, I wanted to know because
She's
Miss
happy.
Eves even stopped speaking to me. Yes, she was mad with me. She was like,
What?
Senator, yeah. And I was like, we don't do the roads, but I called. Remember I called you?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
called there, I took
Yes,
it to
I
her
remember
house.
that, yes.
I took it to her house.
Miss Eves is not calling you anymore because Miss
She's
Eves is happy.
Thank you. That's Brenda Benjamin's mom.
Well,
So I gotta
yes, I
make
know
sure
that.
she's happy.
She is happy.
Okay.
She haven't called me, but I gotta go by and look
Because
for
it was
her.
dangerous.
No,
and
it
she
was
could fall
dangerous.
in that
We
area. So
understand
thank you
that.
for addressing that.
And one more thing, quickly. We understand how the community feel. We know we have to be held accountable. We know that we're responsible for roads. We're gonna come out aggressively. We don't mind the challenges and the talk shows and people expressing themselves because people truly are falling in potholes. They're damaging the car. It's a hazard. The conditions are bad. But we're gonna assure the community that we're gonna aggressively attack this year. We're gonna move as swiftly as we can. These guys have the projects coming in. By midsummer, it's gonna be a beautiful place to be.
Thank you so much.
So we're taking the blows because we are the top.
We taking the blows.
We are taking
Our
blows.
shoulders strong. Okay, so thank you so much. So this morning you had me with St. Clair and Shamari. We talked about festivals. Today, right after our Department of Public Works. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going into the agencies, talking with the leadership, talking with those on the ground. So a lot of times the answers won't come from the commissioner or assistant commissioner. The answers come from the directors and the people who are in the second and third layer within the agency. So I'm going to go in those agencies and get your questions answered and provide the oversight that I promised you that I would give. And I'm going to end by saying, in my slogan was playtime is over, and I am keeping my word. Thank you.